I just got to play in a Wave 1 test of Star Citizen's upcoming mega patch, being touted as one of the biggest patches the game has ever seen. From a brand new star map that lets you set markers and routes to find your way around your own spaceship or ground zones, to the entire solar system, to simple things like dynamic water physics that now react to low-flying ships and other forces. Today, I want to talk about my first experiences in Star Citizen's 3.23 patch, and, well, yes, there are of course bugs. So now in Star Citizen 3.23, before you get into the verse, there's the new character creator, which is simultaneously extremely impressive and horrifying at the same time. I hope CIG knows that like half of their players are going to end up looking like this eventually. I foresee the Clown Citizen memes coming soon. Anyway, it's quite powerful, and I did of course try to make myself in the engine. I got close-ish, I think. The amount of control with the hair color and dye color and hairstyles and facial bone structure is very impressive. It is without question a huge improvement over the previous one, and if it comes with the save your character feature built into it when it comes out so that you don't lose your character with every sequential update, or you can upload a code that will remake your character, I can see just about everybody in the verse spending a lot of time making a really custom character that looks like them, or at least speaks to the character that they want to be. So upon spawning into the universe, the first thing that you'll notice if you're familiar with Star Citizen's previous patches is the new interaction system and heads-up display. Sadly, as a Wave 1 tester, the first time pressing a button didn't go so smoothly for me as the servers were quite laggy. A known issue that has something to do with database unloading. I don't totally know what all of that means, but I'm sure it's related to the fact that this patch is running on the replication layer and has crash recovery enabled. Two new key features that will pave the way to a much bigger and hopefully more stable universe, once they are actually stable. Now, this new interaction system is a nice quality of life update. Being able to just tap F to activate something naturally, like you would in just about any other game, is really cool, and you can also hold F to access the deeper options menu. Though it's clear that the full system is not yet implemented yet, and there's lots of room for improvement, with some of the ship interaction markers being tiny and hard to find, and interaction prompts can get in the way of what you're actually trying to do. And the old system isn't completely dead either, as when you get into an elevator and try and select your floor, it's the same old zoom in and scroll to the option that you need, which, is the same option every single time. Hopefully they'll get some quick options in there, like go to your ship hangar, auto-selected, or go to the lobby as a default. The new systems don't feel particularly polished, but they're still very exciting to see and do offer some nice quality of life updates. Now, the mobiGlas interface is new in the sense that it is running on a completely different back-end system, and some of the menus are a bit updated. Some interesting new ship interface stuff is happening on the front end that I haven't figured out the full depth of quite yet, but the biggest part of mobiGlas though is the map, the everything map. This is probably the best feature that was added to the patch so far. Pressing Q when you're in the map zooms you out to the extents of your current zone. Pressing it again will zoom you out even further and further until you're looking at the whole solar system. There's also suggested locations on the left side panel and the ability to pin spots and set routes. It's really cool, and having it seamlessly show spaceships and their interiors on the map is absolutely wild. Seeing a hammerhead rendered at the ship merchant location in Lorville Spaceport is super cool. The ship interior rendering is going to be especially important for massive ships like the Idris that could feel like a maze to anyone trying to navigate it for the first time, or, the 10th time. Now, the accompanying mini-map that you see in your heads-up display is also extremely awesome and just such a nice quality of life update for a game that just didn't have a mini-map before, and searching for signs and memorizing your path. This is going to be huge for new players, and frankly veteran players as well. It makes finding doors and access points way quicker, though it's not active everywhere, and I'm not sure if that's always by intention or if just some of the zones aren't quite ready for mini-map rendering just yet. Now, if you back out of the persistent universe and go over to Arena Commander, the first iteration of engineering is being tested there. This is something that a lot of people are really excited about, and the same map system is being used on the bridge of this Hercules to show the connected systems of the ship, and honestly, it is really impressive as far as interfaces go. It is a little bit clunky at first, but I guess that's just par for the course with Star Citizen, but it's also very easy to understand the power relays and how the health of modules go down as they take damage. You can open doors remotely from this panel. It made me wonder if you could just set the doors to be permanently open in your ship, which would be kind of nice if you just wanted to be able to fastly traverse your ship or something like that. You could set up a custom layout for getting around quickly. I'm still not completely convinced that ship maintenance is going to be a fun gameplay mechanic just yet, but of course I'm looking at a very early prototype of everything. I did notice, and it's interesting, that the relays in the Hercules have fewer capacitors than they can actually hold, and I wonder if filling them up with the full amount of capacitors will just add a lot of redundancy to the system and offer players a way to sort of overstock or really prep their spaceships for an upcoming battle or something like that. Now, I did notice some visual updates with this patch that do make the game look a bit different. I've heard that you can force the game to run on Vulkan through a line of text in the correct system file, but apparently it does break a bunch of the UI stuff if you force it on. That said, flying in orbit over Lorville, the lights and visuals of the city are quite different than I remember. The space stations also have some new lighting effects or point lights on them that make them look quite different at night, which is a really nice update as opposed to the completely pitch black stations. I also believe the engine has the new cloud tech in it. The clouds do look nice. It's hard for me to notice the subtle differences here, but I think there's also a big render performance improvement along with them, though it's hard to comment on any of the performance improvements since the whole experience was still quite clunky. Master modes, the entire overhaul for how spaceships fly and turn and their top speeds and stuff, is implemented in the game, though I don't believe it includes some of the quantum travel update stuff for like quick quantum travel jumps and stuff. I didn't do any ship-to-ship combat yet, but pressing B on the keyboard now transitions you between quantum drive mode and SCM mode. While you're in your quantum mode, the ship navigation UI is massively improved, and the weird clunky quantum travel stuff seems to be way better than it was before. No more losing my quantum drive spooling and stuff like that. This in itself is a major deal for the game. It's now got quick, clean, unconfusing navigation systems, and this is going to be the future of Star Citizen, potentially just getting around easily and not being constantly confused by where things are or how to get places. Testing the new EVA system was also extremely cool. I didn't get as deep into it as I wanted to, nor did I notice any EVA fuel status bar quite yet, but flying around like Superman just looks awesome, and it makes a lot of sense for this type of game. I'm really excited to test this more, and hopefully there'll be some more EVA FPS missions coming out soon to test out space combat. I mean, imagine this, but in a small asteroid field and trying to assault a base or something. There's so many possibilities here. Now, coming back to the general heads-up display, especially from the FPS perspective, it's quite different with a lot of nice quality of life icons in the lower right, helping you understand what you have equipped and how many things you have left and how much ammo and all that stuff. I only had time to run a single bunker. The AI were not particularly responsive, but as we know, the AI are very dependent on server FPS, so I can't really comment too much on the new gunplay mechanics or anything like that, and the weapon I was using had some missing crosshair stuff, so it was kind of awkward from aiming down sights. The new looting interface is cool, still a little clunky with the keys to exit it and how to fully operate it and how to loot the interiors of enemies' armors and stuff like that. It seems like a major improvement for looting fallen enemies, but if you want to pick up their gun, the interface is still kind of the normal interaction system, and it's a little bit clunky if you're trying to swap it with what you have and stuff. I think I need to spend a little more more time with it, but I think we're just seeing the first iteration of this. There's already some good improvements there, but I think it can probably come a bit further, and I think CIG plans to take it a bit further. I didn't really test backpack reloading much or anything like that, and hopefully CIG will have a way to pick up a magazine from a weapon on the ground quickly, because that's like one of the more useful features, I think. So hopefully that'll be in there soon. Arena Commander now features the new Grav Royale mode for testing out grav bikes and I guess racing or combat. I'm not totally sure, actually. I really didn't spend much time in it, but seems like a good idea, especially for testing out a lot of these vehicles in combat, which don't really have too many formats to really stress test them and dial them in. I do think it's funny that Star Citizen is going to have grav racing, wheeled racing, and ship racing, maybe eventually even some creature mounted racing at some point, now that the game has wildlife. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did spend some time trying to find creatures, but the client was crashing a lot, and some of the crashes sent me to like Klesher, so it really ate up my time trying to capture gameplay and explore this patch. The PTU experience is not for everyone, let me just put it that way. But other people on Reddit have been posting some amazing screenshots of the new creatures, and I cannot wait to see them. Now, I did manage to go check out a distribution center on Hurston. These are the massive new locations that are going to be major mission hubs that will potentially feature a huge amount of subterranean and interior levels and mission space and all kinds of things for massive FPS extensive missions. There also seems to be some outside points around these distribution centers that seems like they could be destinations for hauling cargo from the distribution center out to these points. So maybe you'll get a mission and then you gotta load it onto a ground vehicle and drive out there. I can definitely see some fun gameplay opportunities here. Now, I did try and go inside a distribution center, but I got stuck in the elevator and I could see through the crack that there was no interior for the base, so it's not there yet, but hopefully soon, as this is supposed to be in the 3.23 patch. Now, a cool new cosmetic update for the game are the new water physics. These are pretty easy to test out in Arena Commander. They look really cool, if not a little bit janky. People are posting clips of dropping the A2 bomb into the water and it glitches out something crazy. The system's definitely going to need a bit more refinement in that area, but it is super cool to see the waves behind your ship, and it just makes the world feel that much more dynamic and alive. So yeah, so far 3.23 is looking very impressive, and the patch doesn't even include some of the other features yet, like persistent hangars and hauling missions and all the gameplay supposedly coming with distribution centers. It seems like CIG are probably going to try and get this patch live for Fleet Week, which I believe is toward the end of May, and I sincerely hope that they can get there. It's still very buggy and very laggy and feels like it needs a good month at least of stress testing at scale just to get things dialed in, but we'll see. CIG has been on an absolute tear, and historically what's taken them a long time to do seems like they're doing in a lot less time. So fingers crossed we get a nice or stable-ish patch when this first drops. I think it'll be an interesting first week once this hits live. What do you guys think of this 3.23 patch coming up? What feature are you most excited for? I think I was pleasantly surprised by just how much nicer the navigational heads-up display is when you enter quantum mode in your spaceship. That, for me, is a huge quality of life update that'll impact a lot of my day-to-day gameplay. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a like, subscribe for more content like it, ding that notification bell to beat the YouTube algorithm with me, and up next, check out my devlog for my very own space game that I'm making, which also has some inspirations from Star Citizen. I think you guys will like it, and as always, I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.